Welcome back. Okay, so now we're going to evaluate cube root expressions, and we're going to talk about if we have a negative sign. So let's start back with our basics. I have my expression cube root 64. Cube root, this symbol is just saying words. Give me a number that you can multiply 3 times to itself that would make 64. So to do a cube root, you want to make sure what's inside the radicand is a perfect cube, which means, ladies and gentlemen, you have to have this list memorized. Is 64 on the perfect cube list? It sure is. It's right here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. So we would say the cube root of 64 is 4. Be careful not to mix that up with a square root of 64. That's something totally different. Square root doesn't mean multiply 3 times. Square root would mean multiply twice. What number would you multiply twice to give you 64? Very good. That would be 8. So pay very close attention to your index. All right, now let's look at this next expression. It says let's do the cube root of negative 64. So the first thing we're going to do is jump the gun, and we're going to say we can't do that. Well, you have to pay close attention to your index, what root you're doing. We said you cannot do square roots if your radicand is negative. But this is not a square root, it's a cube root. So again, I'm asking you, what number can I multiply 3 times that would give me negative 64? Well, if 4 times 4 times 4 was positive 64, then negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 4 would give us negative 64. If you don't believe me, I'll show you by writing it 3 times. We know a negative times a negative makes a positive. We know a positive times a negative would make the negative. And we know 4 3 times would give us 64. So you can do a cube root of a negative radicand. Everybody's good with that? All right. Our last expression. I have a negative cube root of negative 64. Now, let's be careful of what we do here. Biggest mistake I'm going to see somebody do is try to take the negative out of the symbol or take this negative and put it in the symbol. You can't do that. The square root symbol is like being inside a house. Okay? So we're not allowed to move the negatives in and out. When we're evaluating this expression, we have to follow, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, we have to do P, what's inside the symbol first. So we're going to focus inside here first. We're not even going to worry about that negative on the outside yet. We're just going to focus in here. You always do what's inside a symbol first. I want to do a cube root of negative 64. Well, you just told that to me here. What number can I multiply 3 times that gives me negative 64? Well, that would be negative 4. Now we got to deal with this negative on the outside. Well, I'm just going to bring it down. This negative on the outside is understood to be a coefficient. It is understood to be negative 1. If you want me to write it in, I will in a different color. And that negative 1 is butt up against that cube root symbol. There's nothing in between that negative 1 and that cube root symbol. There's nothing in between there. That means it's connected by multiplication. So after I do what's inside my symbol, I do my cube root of negative 64 and I get negative 4. Now my job is to multiply my negative 4 times this coefficient, which is negative 1. And a negative times a negative is a positive, and 4 times 1 is 4. So just remember, as we're proceeding, we're still always following order of operations. Okay, see you in the next module.